have to be held against the will of, ooh, you stabbed someone with a pen, and that's a weapon. So now you're going to be charged. If it's self-defense, we should not worry about what you're using to defend yourself as long as it is self-defense. Okay? So for that reason, I know that you have one question. For that reason, I would like to get on the ballot and try to slowly do some changes within New York City. And I ask everyone in this room to assist me. I'm not asking everyone to, knock on 100 doors, because I know how hard it is. But I am asking for everyone in this room to take 1 or 2 hours. Get me 5 signatures. I will walk the same block with you. I just need that extra pounding on that door. So if I can get, I don't know how many are here today, 15, 20, if I can get everyone to walk with me 1 block, 2 blocks, I would appreciate that. Okay?
What day of the week do you want me to do it?
I am able to, this to me has become my full-time job. So I can walk anytime Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 9 to 8. I can do it Saturday and Sunday. I have 2 kids and a wife. I need to dedicate some time to them. Okay, so, my kids are 5 and 7. They like to see daddy. So if you tell me that you're available on Wednesday at 2, I will become available at Wednesday at 2. We will knock doors. If you tell me you're available on Friday at 7 in the night, I will become available at that time. So in reference to the time, you tell me when you're available, I will make myself available at that time. Not 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm sorry, I can't do that. One question in the back first.
Actually, it's two parts. Would you bring back Bloomberg's policy of stop and frisk, where those people who carry weapons illegally are now protected by no stop and frisk? And it doesn't matter what your race is, because everyone, no matter where you live, is threatened by that. Also, would you call on Carmine Farina, Chancellor of the public school system, to reenact consequences for children that behave inappropriately? Those 2 questions.
To answer your first question, do I have time for that?
Yeah.
To answer your 2 questions, stop and frisk, as long as it does not break any laws in reference to illegal search and seizure, I'm okay with it.
Well, how do you
Yeah, probable
determine,
cause.
how would you determine illegal? I mean, if someone sees you there
They're a legal standard, probably.
Yeah,
in an area where there's a high crime rate and they have a suspicion,
right.
are they allowed under this so-called legal provision to pursue that? Politely, could you just empty your pockets?
Illegal search and seizure, I'm against. But the idea of determining a situation and acting on it, I'm okay with. Now, probable cause can be gotten from almost anyone. And I've heard this from a police officer. If the police officer is behind a car, it doesn't matter when we're going to get probable cause. It's a matter of time before we get probable cause. Because every single driver will do something to get probable cause. Either switch lanes without signaling, or go over the speed limit for 1 or 2 miles. Do something that will require, that will constitute probable cause. So it's just a matter of, timing.
Sounds like semantics to me. And I'll tell you why. Why is it that they were able to do that in New York City
Right.
under Bloomberg for so many years, and then Mr. de Blasio comes into office with Bratton, and they have a different approach, where they're looking to cater to a specific group of people for their votes. And those are the people that get hurt the most.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where that comes from, but the other part of it is in the public school system. Children are under the impression that they could do whatever they want without consequence, and they do the same thing in the streets with consequence. How
Well,
do you
let me
prevent
answer your
it?
second question, then we'll gather more information on this. More questions. Your second question is, every single person, no matter what the person's age, should be liable for a consequence. Okay? If a 5-year-old is doing something wrong, the parent of that 5-year-old should set him straight and say, hey, don't do that. That's a bad thing. That's how you learn. So if someone at school who's now a teenager is doing something wrong that's illegal, then that person, there should be consequences. Hopefully that answers your second question.
Does it?
It
And
does?
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because in the society we live in today, most parents are working, both holding double jobs, trying to survive, and really don't have the time for that.
That's a different subject matter.
It's the same subject.
What you
Taking a realistic-
mentioned in reference to the two parents working and all that is a different subject matter. And this
Or a
is why,
single
this is
parent.
why I also promote entrepreneurship. Because if you do have that entrepreneurship within your household, you're hopefully not going to have both parents working. Let me answer another question, because we're gonna run out of time. Go ahead.
Yes. Do you have the support of the county? Are you on, do you have the support of your district leader, or are you on the county petition, or are you a challenger?
No,
Challenging the machine?
no, he's the only candidate, but the
Oh, so
district
no-
leaders,
No primary.
there's a lot of problem with district leaders. There's a lot of district leaders that are name only and don't do nothing in the sense of getting signatures. And let's hope they come through, because they need signatures to get on the ballot next year for their district race, if they want Daniel's help to help them out.
My
Yeah.
question was just, are you on the county petition?
I am on the Republican
Okay.
list.
And when do you have to turn in your sheets to the, what's your deadline for turning in the sheets to the handler, to the petition?
July
handler?
14. Yeah, I was
That's
given.
the 7th through the 11th.
Yeah, I was given a range of dates also.
Filing is 7
I
through
believe
11?
it's, I could be wrong, but I think it's the 7th through the 11th,
Oh,
so
so you
midnight
don't
of
have
the
a
11th.
date for handing in
No, I
your
was given a
sheets?
range, and that's why I'm trying to.
And what is that range?
This,
Seven, I believe it's-
first to second week of July.
The final date,
Would be, I believe it would be the 11th.
okay, final date.
Not for handing in the sheets, if I.
Oh, no, you
11th
need
is
to
the
hand
day-
them in to
Yeah,
Daniel
you
early.
Oh,
gotta
to-
find out the exact, your exact deadline for handing in your sheets. If the last filing date is the 11th,
We're doing that on a weekly basis. So they're asking me to hand it in every Thursday.
Okay.
For everyone that's helping me, so far 2 people, hopefully more at the end of this meeting, I'm asking them to return to me on Tuesday. That way, I get them on Tuesday, I do an eyeball check with the numbers, with the addresses that I have on file, make sure that they are legit, then I hand it in by Thursday. That's how it's going.
Okay, Danny, quick question, okay. Okay, as you know, the Libertarian Party's trying to get Gary Johnson on the ballot. Our requirements, statutorily, we've got to get 15,000 signatures. That's a statewide effort to get him on the ballot. We want to turn in, at least 25,000 signatures. Probably 30 would be nicer. Now, there's no way the volunteers going to step up to get this much, even though however much we exhort them and beg them and all that. We have to pay contractors to petition. It's as though this is a fact. I think for Gary Johnson, he ran in 2012, we paid $40,000 to get people, contractors to get signatures, just to get this number. That's like $2.50 per signature. So, question to you guys, do you have this option to hire contractors?
No.
You want to really spend the money?
As of now, no, because we have to raise money, and that's a Board of Election campaign finance issue right now. We can't just go out of pocket right now until we have our accounts set up.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't want to be in jail.
Well, that's an option, no.
Right. Just 2 more questions, and then we're going to have guest speaker speak, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll get you some signatures on my block. It's President Street, near 8th Avenue.
Perfect.
7th Avenue, 8th Avenue.
Make sure that before we leave, I have your phone number and email
Yes,
address.
okay. Yeah, I'll do it myself. I'll
And
get you
And signature, thank you.
signatures, yeah.
Last
I
question?
got 1,000 signatures, which Gary Johnson last
Wow.
time.
Any more questions before we turn it back over to the chairperson?
One more.
One last question?
Who would you vote for as President of the United States and why?
Well, that's a simple answer. He's entitled to
Um,
privacy.
I'm going to hold off on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's right.
Chair?
Okay, you want to?
No, it's going to you, man.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to introduce you our guest speaker for today, Robert Capano, or Bob, as we know him. Bob has been involved with local politics for a very long time. He was a candidate, I believe, for city council, was it in
2009.
2009, former president of the Brooklyn Young Republican Club, which I used to be also the former president of, was at 2006 to 08. And so Bob will be speaking on the issue about the bag tax that we have. I call it nickeling and diming New Yorkers to death. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give a round of applause for our guest speaker, Robert. You can sit here.
Yeah. So first, to my libertarian friends, when I was president of Brooklyn Young Republican Club in 2006, I was proud to have your vice presidential candidate, Bill Weld, speak before the Brooklyn YRs when he was running for governor in New York. So I was proud to bring him to Brooklyn for his first campaign appearance. Before I talk about the bag tax, let me just introduce myself a little bit more and what gives me somewhat more of a unique perspective on this matter. For the past 3 or 4 years, I've been run a business. I've been a store manager for Gristiti Supermarket in Manhattan. I've been an educator. I taught right down the block at St. Edmund's High School here for a couple of years, high school English and social studies. I've been an adjunct instructor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice for the past 13 years, teaching political science. I also have a long record of working with Brooklyn's top Republicans and Democrats. Proud to have worked for Brooklyn's only member of Congress, New York City's only Republican member of Congress, Bob Turner, and then Vito Fossella before that. And also working with Democrats. I was the director of community boards and community relations to former Democratic Borough President Marty Markowitz for 3 years. So all that stuff has been a unique privilege for me in working for Brooklyn. Now, because of that resume or platform, I've been proud to have been part of leading the fight against this bag tax. Certainly to your two esteemed assembly candidates, the city council here has opened the door for a great issue to run on. That it shows how out of step I think the New York City Council is with grassroots Brooklynites and New Yorkers. So I've appeared on Curtis Sliwar's Driver 5 WABC radio show, Good Day New York with Rosanna Scotto and Greg Kelly, talking about the opposition to this, as well as a handful of other TV and radio stations, including 1010 Wins, New York 1, Channel 7, Channel 2, Channel 9. And basically my opposition, and I think our opposition, boils down to 2 main points. One, to use Glenn's term, this is another example of the city council nickel and diming New Yorkers. So we already pay too much to live in New York City, and this is another example of that. And I don't care how you try to play the semantics about whether it's called a fee or a tax, it's a tax is a tax is a tax. And that's what this is. At the end of the day, according to this bill, retail stores will be forced to charge customers at least a nickel for every bag used. Now, the other point that I'm bringing up as part of my unique perspective as Gristiti Supermarket Manager is that this is going to cost New Yorkers more time at the checkout areas at retail stores, as we now have to figure out how to count how many bags is actually used so we know how much to add on to their bill. So New Yorkers have enough stress and aggravation in their lives when all they want to do, as someone said before, after working 2 jobs to get home to their family, now they're going to be delayed at the supermarket as we have to try to figure out how much money to charge them. So it's a matter of nickel and dime New Yorkers, yes, but also causing New Yorkers more of their valuable time. Right? 2 things we value most in our lives, I think, is our money and time. And this bill is going to take more of each of them from us. Now, the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Consumer Affairs said just 2 weeks ago, the Department of Consumer Affairs looks forward to enforcing this law.
Really?
So admitting, Mr. Pico admitted that this is just another way for the New York City to raise revenue.
How in the world do they propose?
The money goes to the grocer.
Well, we have to do
It goes to
We
the
don't want
grocer.
to do it.
It
We don't
goes
want
the-
to.
So the city is not raising money.
No, and
It goes to the grocer.
With the fine
Let me,
of
yeah,
$500.
yeah. So the city council passed this bill 20-20. And just to let you know clearly what the law says, if a retail store does not charge a nickel for each bag, that retail store will be fined $500 by the Department of Consumer Affairs. Trust me, we don't want to charge our customers more money. But if we don't, we get fined by New York City.
Excuse me, what's the timeline? When are they gonna be implementing?
Wait a
this law?
second, I have something to say.
October?
What is a nickel? A nickel, you buy a can of Coke, there's a nickel on that. You buy a bottle of Coke, there's a nickel on that. And most people don't turn them in. They throw it away.
But it's
You
not
know
a
that, and I know that,
It's not a
okay?
debate.
And a nickel is a nickel is a
I'll
nickel.
finish my
And when you
motion.
buy groceries,
Can
you
you,
pay $50.
Take questions at the end.
We're
Take
gonna-
questions at the end.
That's not a-
Let him finish.
That's a
Make them
remark.
finish.
Let him finish.
Ah.
Let him
Let them
finish.
finish.
Keep it down.
and we can
Okay.
take questions.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to take questions at the end.
No questions.
Let me just finish with what this bill says. So originally, when passed by the city council, this would go into effect October 1st. There would be a 6-month grace period before retail stores would be fined. And during that 6-month grace period, there'll be an educational campaign that the city council would undergo to let supermarkets know, let customers know that they would be charged. So after this 6-month grace period, then again, we would be required to charge consumers a nickel a bag. Now, I know some may say, oh, that's not that much, but for seniors, those on fixed incomes, these nickels add up. Now, think about it. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but if you use 20, 30 plastic bags a week, and God forbid you double bag it, and that adds up, and do that weekly, monthly, annually, we're talking about a couple extra $100 added to a consumer's bill. A couple $100 that would be better spent in their own homes, taking their family on vacation or whatever, but not giving it away as this bill does. Now, what happened was, New York City, like most local governments, are creatures of the state. So there was so much outrage by this when it really began to make the public airwaves. You know, this bill was proposed a long time ago, and there wasn't much press attention to it until this year, when it really started gaining steam. Now, I have to tell you, the City Council Sanitation and Solid Waste Committee held a public hearing on this bill maybe 4 months ago, where they heard testimony from people, where people were able to go give their opposition. Well, guess what? No one showed up because nobody knew about it.
Right.
Once it started making the airwaves, then the City Council Sanitation Committee actually voted on this the day before it went to the City Council, and guess what? No public testimony was permitted after all the opposition was gaining steam and gaining momentum. So to me, this was an atrocity in and of itself, that once an issue garners public attention, the City Council doesn't want to allow for the public to comment. Now, having said that, after the City Council passed this by a vote of 28-20, there was so much opposition that the state legislature looked to get involved and pass bills that would basically, effectively, veto this City Council bill. So this state legislation would prohibit any local government in New York State, including New York City, from imposing a tax